Yeah, you definitely gotta let that joint play for a little bit. Yes. What is good, my people? Welcome back to Computer Music Academy's weekly homework podcast. I'm your host, Tashira Say. Thank you for watching and thank you for listening. Welcome to week 169 of the weekly homework assignment slash podcast. Shout out to my man RTO Beats for that intro, as well as happy anniversary to he and Miss Charmaine. We'll be using that joint for a couple more weeks, and then moving on to something else. Shout out to the packed house we got right now. Welcome, everybody. Agent Smith 78, Black Math, Dap Dunlap, Dixie Freely, Dunsworth is in the building. Hope you're feeling better, man. Fields is here. Jelani is here. DJ Nocturnal, Mr. Wallace, No One You Know, RTO Beats, my wife Samaya. Several other people who have not logged in yet, but that's all good. Feel free to log into the chat with your Facebook login and come hang with us. Nice. Looking good, man. I like the fact that we got things popping on Tuesday, as well as in our house, so to speak, at CMA. We don't have to depend on anybody else. That's how it's supposed to be. So, what are we doing? All right. Episode 169. Well, it really just boils down to this. The podcast is more than just making a beat and getting a few people to listen to it on a weekly basis. It's supposed to be building skills. It's supposed to be teaching you discipline in the sense of being able to, have a deadline where you have to turn something in every week. When somebody says, hey, I need something, blah, 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 you bang it out, you get it back to them whenever possible. As well as becoming a more versatile musician and hopefully maximizing your money when it comes down to it. And this particular week, I wanted to do something that really, really challenged everyone involved. We did what I'm going to call the 120-minute challenge. So I would say 120 or less. Basically, my people had to put 2 hours, 120 minutes on a stopwatch, stop clock, however, and you only had to work within those 2 hours. You had to literally start and stop from conception to production to post-production and within 2 hours. There is no going back and tweaking it. There's no, okay, let me upload 4 different mixes. None of that. It's basically to help you get into to challenge you and to help you get into a groove where you cut your time down. You try to optimize whatever time you have by just banging out, getting your idea out. Because you never know. Hove, Eminem, Kendrick, J. Cole, whoever might come to you like, dude, I'm only in town for a couple of hours. What you got? You got to bang something out and get on out the door. So that's what we did this week. And we actually have 14 submissions this week. I'm so excited to get this started. As we have been lately, we go to our man in Zurich who has been doing his thing. This is my man, XZ Beats. I'm going to borrow the statement from a couple of people in the chat. XZ is a problem. Yes, he is. That dude is dope. XZ Beats opening up episode 169. This was dope. This was very dope. And the one thing I stressed when I sent the assignment out, and even some people, contacted me afterwards, is don't stress mixing and mastering and all that kind of stuff. Just bang out, do whatever you can in that 2 minutes and immediately send it in. It's that simple. And this dude was able to get a nice amount of stuff done in that 2 hours. It's all about how efficient you are. And that's something I'm going to say this now and probably a couple more times throughout the program. It's really, as you really should be practicing this. You really should challenge yourself more often to see how much you can get done and, become more efficient, because I know a lot of people now, like Dixie is a great example. He goes over a few days where he has like basic ideas, and he lays down a few more the next day and a rough draft and so on. And then it finally gets down to, I'm assuming, the 6th or the 7th day, because we have a 7-day turnaround. That's when he actually nails everything, nails the mix, masters it, and sends it over. If I can get people to work in a much shorter time frame by having you practice this on a pretty much a regular basis, you never know what you can do in an hour when it's all said and done. So that's what this whole exercise is all about. XZ, though, this guy, man, stupid. So as far as I know, according to what he said a few weeks back when we did the electronic music festival, that was his first time really messing with electronic music. Then he did it again on the Do What You Like episode. Both were great. This is another one where he got the 4 on the floor. It's a club, and he actually got a sample, chopped up like guitar, jazz stuff going on. This sounds damn good. Everything sounds pretty clean. He probably did what I do a little bit as far as kind of mix as you go, just kind of adjusting things and put them in certain places, but it's not perfect. That's what it sounds like. And then as far as the structure of the song, very dope. Very dope. I really like the filtering he did around the 1:30, if I'm not mistaken, and then brought it up to like the 2-minute area and then just played it on out where he actually added more instruments. This was dope, XZ. Props to you, my man. You are killing it. Please continue doing so. Thank you, my man. All right, let's go over and holler at this cat right here. This is my brother right here. My man's from Jersey, representing 18th Dynasty. listen. Yo, that is easily the smoothest track I have ever heard Dynasty produce. And I've known this dude 5 years now, dude. That is one of the coolest tracks I've ever heard him do. That was crazy, crazy, crazy. He didn't actually say anything in the submission. But man, and see, I've spoke on this several times, over the years, is I'm a person that with everything that I do, and this is not just music, even though sometimes I get a little complicated or whatever, detailed, I'll say that with the music, but I'm more of a minimal yet effective type of person when it comes to a lot of things like certain artwork or logos or stuff like that I've done. And you can get a lot of stuff done just keeping it simple but effective, minimal but effective. And that's what Dynasty did here, because he actually had, I want to say maybe about 3 patterns that I think I heard. One main pattern and a couple of other ones. And the cool thing is he was able to keep that main pattern, but, take instruments in and out of it to make it feel like it was something more going on. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's just that static, 4 bars or whatever the situation may be for more than 30 seconds. That's when you run into trouble with me, I should say. But I really like what he did here as far as, and RTO spoke on it, as far as like the drums and those chords. I don't know where he got those chords. Maybe that was a loop. I don't know if he played it. I don't know. I don't care. It was very, very dope, and it worked perfectly, Dynasty. That's what I'm talking about. When I hear an 18th Dynasty track, because he really has that early to mid 90s East Coast feel locked down, being from Jersey and all. Man, he really brings that every time he turns in the track. For the most part, I would say 99.9% of his tracks are like, that old school East Coast feeling. But man, this was really dope. Very, very, very happy you submitted this week, Dynasty. That was dope. Hope you and the little ones and the wife are well, my man. Thank you, my man. All right, let's keep it going. Got my man over here in the chat hanging with us. This is Dap Dunlap. Okay, Dap, I see you, man. I see that 2 hours kind of got you a little bit, but it's all good. I like what you did come up with. It was pretty cool. I especially like the second half a little bit better. But again, I know Dap is really just getting into a groove on, producing on a regular basis and, building up his skill set. So you can hear that here. I like what he had as far as like having the piano. I'm not sure if there was like another guitar or something else in there. The first half of it was actually pretty cool. Started out, got a little intro, and then it went to the main part, little drop and mute here and there. Once it got to the second half, though, that's where I liked it a little bit better, because I think in that first part of the second half, right around the 1 minute or so, is where he actually had what I will call the inverse of Mass Appeal by Gangstar. Because, Mass Appeal is doot, doot, boot, boot, boot. And he kind of had it going doot, doot, boot, boot, boot. And that's just the first thing that came to my head when I heard it. But that was pretty cool. But around the 125, I want to say, is where he actually changed up the drums entirely. Used some way better drums than what was going on in the first 3/4 of the song. And that carried that second pattern on out. Very, very nice. I really, really like what you did here. Again, that's the whole point. And as I've said before, nothing is supposed to be perfect. Not for this particular challenge, especially if you've never put yourself under these is it restraints or constraints before? Nothing is going to be perfect. Nothing is going to sound the greatest, because again, when you normally have 7 days, but you have to shrink down that time to 2 hours. Yeah, that's a challenge. So it's all good. I'm not looking for perfection here. I'm looking for you getting it done, and hopefully you can learn from this experience and just build and be better in the future, continuing that process. But Dap, my man, continue working and keep it going, my man. Thank you for that submission, man. Let's get some shouts out, man. We got a few people that just stepped in. Good Lord, stepped in. We got Davenport in the building. Who else did I see? Shout out Dap. Shout out Fields. Gemini 4D is in here. Ja Rose is in the building. J-Paz is up in here. DJ Lock Turtle. Mr. Wallace. Got my man Ray Jean hanging out as well. And again, a few people who haven't checked in, but that's all good. Welcome. Hang out with us. We really appreciate y'all hanging with us tonight. Let's keep it going. Speaking of Ja Rose, let's see what he's doing this week. Okay. So here we go. Let's go ahead and start this up now, dude. I think people are really surprising themselves. And this is only the fourth entry for the night. But I think people are really surprising themselves with what they can do. When you don't have to worry about mixing and you don't have to, necessarily worry about a particular type of assignment or whatever. I think that's what's happening here. Especially in Ja's case, because this is amazing. Listening to what Ja has produced lately. Matter of fact, I'll go back here. Listening to what he was doing when he first got here at the last quarter of last year. We get into this season. He's been doing great work this season. And then this right here is under 2 hours. Props. Massive props. This is easily the best thing I've heard from you. And I know I've said that before, but that's the whole point. I should constantly say this is the best thing I heard from you. You should continue to reach that particular level. But he says, what a challenge for me. This was my third or fourth attempt at completing the assignment. And I heard a couple of people say they tried this a couple of times. Nothing wrong with that. Long as it's not you worked, 6 hours instead of 2, that kind of thing. But the track is sampled and organic. Instruments came from Contact and East West. Drums were programmed in Battery. #WeAreCMA. Man, Ja, this right here is TV shows / documentary / movie ready. I hear this in all of those situations. I can even hear it in, and I'm not as big of an anime fan as I used to be, but I can even hear it in something like, Samurai Champloo. Kind of reminds me of some of the music that Nujabes and Fat John did for that. Rest in peace to Nujabes. But, dude, this was crazy. This was really crazy. I like the filtering and oscillating or however the situation may be as far as like those keys. That's what it sounded like. The drums were on point. Bass was on point. What was really, really ultra dope was at the end. Like, it had a couple of different patterns switching back and forth, drops and mutes, blah, blah, blah. But at the very end, I want to say around the 2:15 is when he completely changed it. He took it to a bridge, like at the end. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful, Ja. You're killing it, dude. You are killing it. That was dope. I want more of that from you. Thank you, my man. Good Lord. Woo. All right, let's keep it going, man. Let's bring it up to Detroit right now. Holla at my brother. No one you know.
Make it let. Make it let. Make it let. Make it let. Forever.
Okay. 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 I see you know one. I see you. I see you. I hear you. That was dope. That was very dope. He said, okay, here it is. Started around 12:30 Sunday and went to 2:15 or so. Not my best work, rushed, which is funny because I usually do music within that time because this week I had to. It ain't the same. Oh well. LOL. I got to give it to you though for what you did do. Very dope. Of course, Keith Sweat, Make It Last Forever. Classic, classic. I'm really, really hoping I can play this on YouTube because it's just enough to where it could get picked up by the bots. Let's hope not. But yeah, I like the way you used it. You got the no one standard of drum programming, and that's not a bad thing. I'm not saying that at all. But I know no one drum programming when I hear it now. But you got that popping, nice drums, and then the sample itself, the way you used it in certain parts. Oh my God, that was dope. Very, very dope. That was one part with old girl. I can never remember her name that you used hers. And I like how you use that within the chop. That one section was really, really, really dope. And then like the fill-ins and whatnot with the drums along with the chops. Good work there. I like what you did. I think it was right after the 1 minute mark where you actually distorted the sample as an effect. And that was really, really cool. It was really effective. My only thing is you did it for a little too long. I would have gone 8 bars tops. But I think it's really cool when you do something like that just for a little bit and then you can come right back to, the way it should sound. Because the issue with the distortion was it sounded very distorted. It took the volume from here to here. And I'm sitting here looking at the wave. I'm looking at the VU meter and it started to distort and things sounded out of place. Again, we weren't going for perfection here. So I'm just speaking on in the future stuff you should think about when you create. But overall, I liked it. I really did, my man. And I see you working. Only thing I can ask is that you continue to do that and continue this challenge where you do this more often, where, it's not even for a WHA, or maybe it is. But if you just put yourself in a situation where I'm only going to work on this beat for 2 hours today, or whatever time you decide, do that more often, and you'll eventually get quicker and quicker and be able to do more and have more perfect productions in that time frame. So thank you, no one. That was dope, my man. Really, really enjoyed that. Have we shouted everybody? I believe so. Cool. Let's keep rolling, man. Let's go over to the tag team champions of the world, the Chicago Liars. We got them both this week. And shout out to all my people, all my Dirty Old Men crew, all several members of CMA and Scratch Mag family that hung out in Chicago this weekend. I did not get a chance to go, unfortunately. But everything that I'm seeing, it was great times. And we're definitely going to do it again next year. And I plan on being there myself. But the first member of the Chicago Liars this week is Jelani Beats. Man, first off, before I go any further, I have to give major props for that sample. If I'm not mistaken, that's Phyllis Hyman, her version of Bet You My Golly Wow. I think that's how it is. I actually have that on a Phyllis Hyman rare songs collection, like stuff that she recorded but wasn't released fully, however. But man, the usage of that is a dope song to begin with. And Phyllis Hyman, rest in peace to her, man. She never really got the props that she should have. She was ridiculous. She was an absolutely great singer, dude. Great entertainer. But your usage of that song, Jelani, yo, this was dope. Especially if you did it within 2 hours. Good Lord, yo. This was crazy. As far as intro, full, a main part of the song, different change ups and whatnot. The chops, point. Drums and drum programming, point. Bass, point. I think I heard a little filtering and whatnot going on there. Wasn't the greatest of mixes, and I don't know if you said that or if AS said that. That's fine. I wasn't working for that. I wasn't looking for that. But it actually works with what you did. Only thing I would suggest is just tweaking it. And I know you're working on a project right now. I would say that needs to go on there. Real talk. This is dope. This is very, very dope. I really, like I said, I like the chops and everything. I really like what you did with the chops. I think it's at the 130 or 145 where they completely they completely change up and it's like saying this guy or something like that. Yo. Gelati. Yes. That's what I'm talking about. I need more of that, sir. Good Lord. That was dope. Thank you for that, my brother. Good Lord. Woo! All right, let's go to the other side of Chi-Town and see what this guy's talking about. This is Agent Smith 78. I gotta grab my towel again. Okay, there we go. That was fire. Holy crap. Woo. Yo. That was nasty, AS. Holy crap. I don't have anything to say. That's dope. if that's truly a 2-hour project or less, dog, the chops, the drum programming, the way it flips and transitions to certain, to different patterns and whatnot. My favorite part, I think it's around the 1 or the 120, is like the 4 on the floor kind of pattern. Doom, 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 doom. And then on like the 8th, it had that snare that hit, and he did that twice. I think that was 8. That might have been 4. But either way, good Lord. That was fire, AS. Whoo, boy. I need you, if that's the case, and this goes for anybody, if y'all cranking out like this in 2 hours, I need y'all doing this more often. But the thing about it is, this is what I was saying earlier. When you don't have to worry about a particular set of instructions or subject or anything like that, you got that stress off of you. When you can just sit down and just kind of play around. I mean, if you plan it out in advance, that's one thing. That's no big deal. But the actual work was only supposed to be 2 hours. But still, when you can just sit down and whatever comes to you with that sample or those instruments, however, and it's this dope and as dope as every other submission has been, yeah, that lets you know something right there. Y'all need to continue this. This was fire, AS. Good Lord. Thank you for that. I needed to hear something like that today. Sheesh. Woo. All right. Let's keep it going, man. I'm going to head down south real quick. Holla at my brother in the north of the Carolinas. This is Sir Ronald Beastly. Man, let me tell you something. So, for anybody that does not know, I do a live stream on Saturdays and now Sundays on my personal YouTube channel where I'm just making beats. It started out as like just chopping samples, you know, seeing what I could do within an hour because I really only do it for about an hour or so. This And AS's submission reminds me of when I do just straight samples. You know, I take one song, so to speak, and try to do like, I don't know, 5 or 6 patterns or whatever in that hour. And it has turned out very well. This is what that reminds me of with Ron B. And like I say, AS is as well. Yeah, that's kind of where this comes from because I do it myself. Ron B, on the other hand, stupid. I had this assignment sitting on my computer since Monday. I put it together in a 2-hour time frame, but I'm not feeling good about not being able to go back and fix anything I don't like or able to mix it. I export it straight from my machine, and here it is. Okay, so I had this discussion with Mr. Wallace also. Just because you just had to turn it in, you know, work in that 2-hour time frame and then turn it in, doesn't mean you can't go back and tweak it and complete it, perfect it. Not at all. That was just for the purpose of the assignment and the exercise that I wanted you to get. So yeah, you can go back, do whatever you want to do. It's all good. And I tell you that anyway. The podcast is not the final destination of your music. It should never be. All right. That being said, this was stupid, Ron. Holy crap. And honestly, I don't know, having listened to so much music from Ron B over the last year plus, I don't know what's wrong with this. I'm not going to say it sounds like typical Ron B, but this is what I've come to expect, is just heat, especially when it's on some sample stuff. This dude gets to chopping, and then he does instrumentation in most cases. I think this was strictly samples. Maybe he had a bass line in there that he played. But this was crazy. I don't know what sample this was. I don't know if you got it all from the same sample, because it sounded like different, like the vocal parts would sound like they were coming from different places. Don't care. It doesn't matter. This was dope. This was incredibly dope, Ron. And you are a beast. It's that simple, man. This dude is an absolute beast. Ron Beast, ladies and gentlemen. Ron Beastly. Sir, Ron Beastly. Quick shout out to Miss Lena hanging out in the chat. Shout out to you, my lady. Yeah, Ron B. My man. Thank you, my man. All right. Let's go over to one of the gentlemen that was actually in Chicago this weekend, but he made sure he got it in before he left for Chicago. This is my guy, my brother. This dude is an absolute nutcase. Black Math. Black Math, ladies and gentlemen. Black Math, King QWERTY, as we call him. I'm just going to say this. Remember when I was talking earlier about being minimal, simple, yet effective? That's it. That's perfect. That's a perfect example. Why do I say this? Because it's very minimal. It's very simple what he did as far as the chops, the groove, the drum programming, everything. This is ready right now for anybody that calls themselves a real hip hop rapper, real true to the art form. None of that little crap. Any of those dudes to just get, or ladies, to just get in there and rip. Speaking of ladies, I would like to hear Rhapsody over that. I think Rhapsody would murder this track. But it's simple enough to where you hear the beat, you enjoy it, but it's not taking anything away from the person that's performing over it. I love this track, Mav. I do. And I'll go back to what Dixie and I believe Wallace has said about my tracks. It has a nice amount of air, nice amount of space where everything breathes. Everything is present, has its own space, but you could still hear everything. And then I like the air in between the chops because like me, sometimes I'm 64 chops and I'm trying to play them all back to back. Whereas this had come on, man. This was stupid. Good Lord, that was dope. Thank you for that, dude. He said, I didn't know if the 2 hours counted for listening for something to sample, but I ended up chopping up Gladys Knight in the Pips on and on. There are things that stuck out that I wanted to fix, but with time running out, I just added a bass line, drum mutes, and that was it. Hope it suffices. Hashtag we are CMA. That's all I asked for. 2 hours and kill it. That's it. Way to kill it, Doug. Thank you, Mav. Woo, man. Well. Look who we got in the lineup tonight. Representing Inland Empire, Gemini 4D. This guy, dog. This dude turned in a 1 minute and 15-second submission. To hell with you, Gemini. What is wrong? Wow, 2 hours is not a lot of time. Yes. This taught me I truly do suck. Shut up. I used the sample from a CD Dunsworth let me borrow, and the drums came from Native Instruments expansion, Street Swarm, which I just bought that myself. That is a dope expansion. Then that Mental hooked me up with, had a few more ideas. I didn't have time to add. I tried to record most of it on the Q2M, but the audio came out in 2G, not too good. Oh, haha. Hope you enjoy hashtag We Are CMA. Yo, that was dope. I ain't gonna front. It was a little, I would say, confusing in the beginning, but once it got to like what would be the verse part, then it made sense. It actually, I began to really see it for what it was supposed to be. And that's really dope. Stream Swarm is dope. I like what you did here as far as the chops you did have. The drums were definitely on point. Gemini's drums are always on point. Always. He has, like, Mav has a swing and Gemini has, like, this is going to sound really weird. Mav swings in one direction and Gemini kind of swings in another direction. I don't know if that's plausible or what, but if you listen to both of their music, you get what I'm saying. That's the best way I can describe it. And I really like what Gemini did here with those drums. I like the chops. I really like the way you brought in the horns. I wasn't expecting the horns. Da-da-da-da-da-da. That was cold. That was cold. I just wish I got more of it. This was really, 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 really dope, though, Gemini. And I need you in the podcast more often. You and Duns. I see you over there, Duns. Hope you're feeling better, bro. Hey, Gemini, thanks for this, dude. Appreciate you. All right, man, let's go back down to the South and holla at the South of the Carolinas. This is a gentleman that just released a single over the weekend. As I don't know if we should continue to call you Nocturnal or is Gamopods just like a persona thing, like Madlib? He has all these different personas that he releases albums under. That's something we kind of need clarification on, but I've known you as Nocturnal for, 4 years now. Anyhow, if you would like to go support this man, Gamopods, GAMMAPODZ.bandcamp.com, I believe. Just look him up on Bandcamp. The name of the song is called Frozen City. Go cop that and support CMA people. In the meantime, this is my man, DJ Nocturnal. Look, let me tell you something. Well, let me go here. With my workflow in Ableton, I'm usually pretty quick. I spend the majority of the time mixing, referencing. You get it. I mix some of these WHAs 10 to 15 times. Understood. I am not happy with the mix, of course, and I'll second guess what I did until the podcast airs and beyond. Hard to let go. I believe Locke did this in 2 hours because of who he is and what he's able to accomplish. I'm happy. I am so happy that I was able to reel him in a little bit. He wasn't able to get the full Nocturnal recipe in this song. We had to hold him and restrain him a little bit. But it still turned out very dope. Very Locke/Gamopods. This was crazy. I like that. This definitely had the same flavor as your other productions. It does. It's definitely, if I'm listening, if I just happen to walk into, I don't know, a store or something, and I hear this, I'm going to know it's a Nocturnal track, even though it doesn't have a lot of the elements that he has been putting in his production, say, for the last year or so. This is dope, Locke. Honestly, this is just a suggestion. I wouldn't do anything but just tweak the mix. Just a little bit more on the EQ, because the leveling sounds perfect. The way it's laid out and all the sounds, they sit in a perfect in a perfect position in the song. You even had, I only noticed it like at the end, I want to say around like the two minute or so, there's like a pad or something that's going back and forth from left to right, which was really dope. I heard all of that. I wouldn't do much more to this. I wouldn't change the actual structure of the song at all. It's perfect. It's perfect. You have all of the crazy Gamopod stuff, and stuff is jumping around and moving and morphing. This is more subtle. I think it would be perfect, especially because I know you're working on the project. This would be perfect as just one of those songs that sits on its own away from what everything else is. Just a suggestion. But overall, very, very, very dope, Locke. Thank you for that submission, bro. That was crazy. Still crazy, but we reeled him in. He didn't get a chance to do as much, and I like that. Come on, man. All right, let's head up to Detroit. Let's go holler at this guy who just got back from Chicago as well. Let's see what he's doing. Mr. Wallace. Yes. I've done it twice. I had to reel Locke in a little bit. Now I had to reel Wallace in a little bit. Yes. Yo, this was dope. Went down to the absolute wire with this one. I spent an hour and 40 minutes on it in Chicago, then took the last 20 minutes to knock it out. Tough. So I'm assuming he just got the main stuff there, and when he got back, he spent the last 20 minutes, which is fine. I would prefer it be all in a row, but if you got the majority of it in 2 hours, that's what I'm talking about. That was stupid. Wallace has this ridiculous ability to select the right drum loops, old school drum loops, and this ability to chop them up and just make them sound stupid against what he already has in his creation. This is no exception. This is dope. And it's very subtle compared to other Wallace joints. But just like on Locke, what I said with Locke, I wouldn't touch much if you go back and redo it. Touch the mix up, go right ahead. But as far as changing the structure, it's not much I would suggest, to be honest. This is another track that can sit on its own from every other track that's on your album or in your collection. Seriously, I really like the chops. Definitely the drum break and all the other elements that you did have in here. Very, very sick. There was some filtering, there was some drops and mutes and very quick changes to other things. I really, really like that. And again, you did this in 2 hours. That's what I'm talking about. You never know your abilities until you actually have to put them to work. Bottom line. My man. Thank you, Wallace. Thank you for that, my man. All right, let's go to this dude right here, man. Let's see what he did. He was actually the first, if not the second one to actually turn in this week. This is Dixie Freely. I love it. I absolutely love it. I like this being able to put a weight on somebody, basically, and having them to figure out how to get stuff done in less time, less energy, or however. I like this. I really like this because, once again, this was dope. Does it sound like a Dixie track? Hell yeah. Is it still dope? Hell yeah. But it forced Dixie to not do as much in the track. It still turned out very dope. Man. It's Wednesday, and tonight was the only night I could take a stab at this due to upcoming travels. I started at 9:37 p.m. and was exporting by 11:37 p.m. This is definitely not my best, but I did my best. Only using only 15 tracks and making it to the 2-minute mark. It's definitely not me. Shut up, Dixie. But hey, I wanted to stay true to the assignment. I also did everything in Machine as opposed to using Studio One. Nice. I wanted to add more change-ups, but the time was just not there. I balanced every sound by ear and did some panning, and that was it mix-wise. I'm not sure if it's loud enough or too loud, but hey, there it goes. Bravo, Dixie. Insert evil laugh here. This has been great. Kind of watch people squirming. I don't have a lot of time. I can't do all my crazy flourishes and da. Yeah, exactly. Get the idea out. That's what it's all about. This assignment was specifically to help you become more efficient. Hopefully, plant the seed so you could become more efficient. But this was dope, Dixie. I really like it. It's exactly what it needs to be. Simple, yet effective, and dope. Done and seen. Thank you, Dixie. That was dope, man. And now, to the end of our program this week. Mr. Anniversary Guy himself, as well as the guy that gave us the intro and the outro. My brother, representing Oakland, California. This is RTO Beats. Yep. RTO Beats closing out episode 169 of the weekly homework assignment / podcast. That was beautiful. If for nothing else, and there's plenty more, but if for nothing else, the sample, whoo, good Lord. I'm assuming that was like Voices Unlimited or somebody. I could be wrong. But definitely sounds like, or Manhattan Transfer. Anyhow, doesn't matter. It was dope. It was incredibly dope. And again, Cass felt restricted time constraints. Oh, shoot, I can't do everything I need to do, so I guess got to deal with this. And look what happened. Stupid. Still managed to get out a few different patterns, or at least a couple different patterns as far as I know. 2 or 3. Drum selection. Let's talk about that. The drum selection is on point, and then the programming on point. Had a drum fill in a couple of areas, really dope. Bass, superb. And then once again going back to the chops, and then the different patterns of the chops. The one is like the main, but then there's a breakdown. Oh my God, where it's like basically everything drops out of that particular pattern, and it's just all about the voices at that point and what they're saying, how they're rearranged. Stupid RTO. Very, very stupid, man. This is what I'm talking about. Now, on this side of the assignment, I'm very sure, and this is not for my ego or approval or anything at all, I'm very sure you feel better about doing this now. You feel better about your skills. So hopefully now you could actually implement this more often. Seriously. If you're doing, let's say, 3 to 4 beats a week, maybe you do this exercise on at least one of them. Flat out. And just continue to work on it and build that time frame up to where you can just become more efficient, get more done, and be very, very dope in the process. This was a great show, gentlemen. Props to everybody that actually stepped up to the challenge, and all of you delivered, all 14 of you. Bravo. Bravo. That was dope, yo. Woo. Let's get some shouts out, man. Agent Smith, Black Mav, Dap Dunlap, Davenport, Dixie Freely, Dunsworth, Gemini 4D, Jelani Beats, J Pass. Kadiva. Hello. Trying to think, do I know that person? Thank you for coming through. Miss Lena, DJ Lockturnal, Netmakers in the house, Mr. Wallace, No One You Know, RTO Beats, my wife Samaya, I love you, baby. And there's a few other people that did not check in, but that is all good. This was a great show. I really enjoyed it. Hopefully you did. If you would like to be amongst the great talent pool here at CMA, come on over to computermusicacademy.com and join us. It is that simple. And we do this every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here, computermusicacademy.com/live. And the full real podcast goes live the next day. That's it. We're done for the week. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll talk to you next time. See ya!